In a small African village where Christmas dreams collided with reality, young Lisa dared to believe in something extraordinary. In a small African village where the sun blazed year-round, lived a young girl named Lisa. Unlike the familiar warmth of her homeland, Lisa's heart yearned for something different, a Christmas that sparkled with the magic she saw in movies. Every evening she would sit by her window, lost in dreams of snowflakes dancing through the air and the sound of sleigh bells ringing in the distance. Lisa spent countless hours imagining what it would be like to experience a Christmas like those she saw on screen. The twinkling lights adorning snow-covered houses, the mysterious figure in red bringing joy to children worldwide, and most of all, the magical sleigh that soared through starlit skies. These images played in her mind like a favorite movie she could never quite reach. The stark contrast between her dreams and reality was evident in every detail of her surroundings. Instead of snow-laden pine trees, she saw palm trees swaying in the warm breeze. Rather than the cozy fireplaces she glimpsed in holiday films, her home was filled with the natural warmth of the African sun. Yet, these differences didn't diminish her longing. If anything, they made her dream even more intensely. At night, Lisa would often climb onto the roof of her modest home, gazing at the stars that seemed to twinkle with the same magic she believed Santa possessed. She would trace imaginary sleigh paths across the sky with her finger, convinced that somewhere out there, the jolly man in red was preparing for his worldwide journey. Her brothers would tease her gently about her fascination with this foreign version of Christmas. Lisa, they'd say, why dream of snow when we have sunshine? Why wish for a sleigh when we have our own beautiful traditions? But Lisa knew there was room in her heart for both the rich cultural heritage of her African home and the enchanting winter wonderland she yearned to experience. As each Christmas approached, Lisa's anticipation would build. She decorated their home with whatever she could find, creating her own version of holiday magic. Empty bottles became glittering ornaments, painted with patterns that mimicked frost. Old fabric scraps transformed into makeshift stockings, hung with care and hope. Though it wasn't the Christmas she saw in movies, Lisa's determination to bring that magic to her corner of Africa never wavered. Her dreams of Santa, snow, and sleigh rides might have seemed impossible in the African heat, but Lisa understood something that many often forget: the true magic of Christmas lies not in the external trappings of the holiday, but in the power of belief itself. And in that belief, Lisa's heart remained as pure as the snow she dreamed of. In the heart of their African village, Lisa's home buzzed with the energy of 6 souls under one roof. As the youngest of 4 children, she occupied a special place in the family's dynamic, both cherished and challenged by her 3 older brothers. Their modest house, though small by some standards, felt like a palace filled with love, laughter, and the occasional chaos that comes with a full household. Her parents worked tirelessly to provide for their family. Her father, a skilled carpenter, spent long days crafting furniture for the villagers, while her mother balanced running a small market stall with keeping their home in order. Despite their limited means, they never failed to make each day feel special for their children. Lisa's brothers James, Michael, and Thomas were her protectors, playmates, and sometimes tormentors, as older siblings often are. James, the eldest, carried himself with the responsibility of a firstborn, always looking out for his younger siblings. Michael, the middle child, brought creativity to their games, inventing new ways to have fun with whatever they had. Thomas, closest to Lisa in age, shared a special bond with her, often being her confidant in late night, whispered conversations. But while her brothers found contentment in their traditional celebrations, Lisa's heart yearned for something different. Each evening, after helping her mother prepare dinner, she would retreat to their shared bedroom, pulling out her treasured collection of magazine clippings showing Christmas celebrations from around the world. The images of frost-covered windows, children building snowmen, and families gathered around decorated pine trees captured her imagination. Her fascination with Western Christmas traditions sometimes created a gentle divide between her and her siblings. When they would celebrate Christmas in their village style, with drums beating, traditional songs filling the air, and festive African dishes spread across tables, Lisa would participate wholeheartedly. Yet part of her mind would drift to thoughts of jingling sleigh bells and reindeer hooves on rooftops. Her parents noticed her longing but didn't discourage it. Instead, they tried to blend both worlds, incorporating small Western traditions into their African celebrations. They helped her hang makeshift stockings, created paper snowflakes to decorate their windows, and even attempted to bake cookies using their wood-fired oven. Though these efforts often fell short of the picture-perfect scenes in her magazine clippings, they demonstrated the family's love and support for Lisa's dreams. The sun had dipped below the horizon, painting the African sky in deep purples and blues. Inside her small bedroom, Lisa prepared for bed with a heart full of anticipation. Christmas Eve had always been special, but tonight felt different somehow. The warm evening air drifted through her window, carrying with it the sounds of nighttime in the village crickets chirping, distant laughter, and the gentle rustling of palm leaves. As she changed into her nightgown, Lisa's mind wandered to the Christmas movie she loved so dearly. She imagined snowflakes falling outside her window instead of the usual starlit sky, and pictured the sound of sleigh bells mixing with the evening prayers from the nearby mosque. Climbing into bed, Lisa clutched her worn pillow close to her chest. Her brothers had already fallen asleep in the next room, their soft snores creating a familiar rhythm in the quiet house. But sleep was the last thing on Lisa's mind. Tonight was the night she would make her special wish. Kneeling beside her bed, just as she'd seen children do in her favorite Christmas stories, Lisa clasped her hands together. Her whispered prayer filled the darkness of her room. Dear Santa, please come to my home this Christmas. I want to see you. I want to see you. I want to feel the magic. She poured her heart into every word, believing with all her might that somehow, somewhere, Santa would hear her plea. Lisa imagined him sitting in his workshop at the North Pole, perhaps pausing while checking his list to listen to the earnest wish of a little girl in Africa. I know it's different here, she continued softly. No snow, no chimneys, and no Christmas trees like in the movies. But our home is filled with love, and our hearts are open to magic. Please, Santa, just this once, could you make my dream come true? As she finished her prayer, a warm breeze rustled through her room, almost like a gentle response to her heartfelt wish. Lisa crawled back into bed, her eyes heavy with sleep but her mind alive with possibilities. Perhaps tonight would be different. Perhaps tonight Santa would hear her prayer and bring a touch of movie magic to her corner of Africa. With these thoughts swirling in her mind, Lisa drifted off to sleep, unaware that her Christmas wish was about to come true in ways she never imagined. The aroma of jollof rice wafted through the house, pulling Lisa from her dreams. She stretched lazily, her mind still foggy with sleep, as morning sunlight streamed through her window. The familiar scent meant her mother was already busy preparing their Christmas feast, just as she did every year. But something felt different this morning. The house seemed to hum with an unusual energy, and Lisa could hear hushed whispers coming from the sitting room. Curious, she slipped out of bed, her bare feet padding softly against the cool floor. As she approached the sitting room, the whispers grew louder. She heard her brother Michael's voice, filled with disbelief. It can't be real, can it? Lisa turned the corner and froze. There, sitting comfortably on their worn couch, was a figure she'd only ever seen in movies and dreams: Santa Claus himself. His red suit seemed to glow in the morning light, and his white beard sparkled like fresh snow. His eyes twinkled with warmth as they met hers. Ho, 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 ho. Merry Christmas. Lisa Santa's voice filled the room, deep and jolly, just as she'd imagined it would be. Lisa's legs wobbled beneath her. She gripped the doorframe for support, her heart racing. Santa, she whispered, barely able to form the word. Her three brothers stood clustered together near the kitchen entrance, their faces a mixture of shock and wonder. James, ever the protective eldest, kept glancing between Santa and his siblings, as if trying to determine if this was some elaborate prank. Thomas had his mouth hanging open, the half-eaten piece of bread in his hand completely forgotten. Her parents emerged from the kitchen, her mother still holding a wooden spoon covered in rice. They too seemed caught between disbelief and joy, watching as their youngest child's greatest Christmas wish materialized before their eyes. Come, dear one, Santa beckoned, patting the space beside him on the couch. I heard your prayer last night. Lisa moved forward slowly, each step feeling like a dream. But the couch cushion was real beneath her when she sat, and Santa's gentle laugh was warmer than any African sun. Her family gathered closer, drawn by the impossible magic of the moment, as Santa reached for his mysterious bag of gifts. Christmas had come to their African home in the most extraordinary way imaginable. The morning unfolded like magic as Santa began distributing gifts from his seemingly bottomless bag. Lisa's eyes widened as she received a beautiful red dress, exactly like the one she'd dreamed of. Her brothers each got special presents: James a model car kit, Michael a set of art supplies, and Thomas a football. Even her parents weren't forgotten, receiving thoughtful gifts that brought tears to their eyes. "Now," Santa announced, clapping his hands enthusiastically, "who's ready for some fun?" The family spent hours playing games they'd never experienced before. Santa taught them charades, causing endless laughter as they acted out different Christmas scenes. Musical chairs became a spirited competition, with even their usually reserved father joining in, his deep laugh mixing with Santa's jolly ho-ho-ho. When lunchtime arrived, the aroma of Lisa's mother's jollof rice filled the house. Santa sat at their modest table, praising the dish with genuine delight. "In all my travels," he declared, helping himself to seconds, "I've never tasted jollof rice quite this delicious." Lisa's mother beamed with pride while her father shared stories of their family traditions. After lunch, Santa led them in singing Christmas carols. Their voices blended together: Santa's deep bass, Lisa's clear soprano, and her brother's enthusiastic, if sometimes off-key, contributions. They sang songs from around the world, teaching Santa their local Christmas songs in return. But the most extraordinary moment came when Santa invited them outside. There, in the middle of their dusty village street, stood his magical sleigh, complete with 8 reindeer pawing the ground impatiently. The entire family climbed aboard, their neighbors emerging from their homes in astonishment. As the sleigh lifted into the air, Lisa's village transformed below them. They soared over familiar paths now seen from an entirely new perspective. Children ran after them, pointing and shouting with joy. The sleigh made stops at various homes, Santa leaving gifts for surprised families who never expected to see him in Africa. The afternoon sun painted everything in golden light as they flew, the warm African breeze carrying their laughter across the village. Lisa sat next to Santa, her heart fuller than she'd ever thought possible, realizing that Christmas magic could exist anywhere, even in her small corner of Africa. As the golden African sun began to dip toward the horizon, Santa rose from his seat with a gentle sigh. "It's time for me to continue my journey," he announced, his eyes twinkling with both joy and sadness. Lisa felt her heart sink, though it was still full from the day's magic. Standing in their small front yard, Santa turned to face the family who had shared their Christmas with him. His red suit glowed warmly in the setting sun, and his white beard seemed to shimmer with stardust. "Before I go," he said, his voice gentle yet powerful, "I want to share something important with you all." Lisa moved closer, not wanting to miss a single word. Her brothers gathered around her, their earlier skepticism completely forgotten. Even her parents stepped forward, drawn by the wisdom in Santa's eyes. "The spirit of Christmas," Santa began, placing a hand over his heart, "isn't found in snow or sleighs, or even in the presents we give. It lives right here." He touched his heart again. "It's in the love you share as a family. It's in the way you care for each other and your community. It's in the joy you create together, whether you're eating jollof rice or singing carols." Lisa felt tears welling up in her eyes as Santa knelt down to her level. "Your Christmas is just as magical as any other in the world, Lisa. The magic isn't in what you see in movies, it's in what you feel in your heart." Rising to his full height, Santa embraced each family member in turn. When he reached Lisa, he whispered, "Keep believing in magic, little one. But remember, the most powerful magic is the love that surrounds you every day." With those words, Santa climbed into his sleigh. The reindeer stomped their hooves eagerly, ready to take flight. As the sleigh began to rise, Santa's voice rang out one last time, "Merry Christmas to all. And remember, the spirit of Christmas knows no bounds. It touches hearts everywhere, from the snowiest peaks to the warmest villages of Africa." Lisa's eyes fluttered open to her mother's voice calling from the doorway. "Lisa, wake up." It's Christmas morning. The familiar scent of jollof rice wafted through the air, grounding her in reality as the magical dream began to fade. She sat up quickly, her heart still racing with the vivid memories of Santa's visit. The room was exactly as it had always been: no magical sleigh outside, no presents from the North Pole, no jolly man in a red suit. For a moment, disappointment threatened to overwhelm her. But as she climbed out of bed and walked toward the kitchen, something had changed within her. The dream had left her with more than just fading images of Santa and his sleigh. It had given her a new perspective on what made Christmas truly special. In the kitchen, she found her family going about their usual Christmas morning routine. Her mother stirred the jowl of rice while humming a local Christmas song. Her father sat reading his morning paper, occasionally glancing up to smile at his children. Her brothers playfully argued over who would get to eat first. Lisa watched them all with new eyes. The love that filled their small home was real, more real than any movie-perfect Christmas scene she had dreamed about. The way her mother's eyes crinkled when she smiled, how her brothers immediately made space for her at the table, her father's gentle pat on her head as she passed by, these simple gestures held more magic than all the snow and sleighs in the world. "Merry Christmas, everyone," Lisa announced, her voice full of newfound joy. Her family turned to her, somewhat surprised by her enthusiasm. Usually she was quiet on Christmas morning, lost in thoughts of what she believed she was missing. "What made you so happy this morning?" Thomas asked, nudging her playfully. Lisa smiled, remembering Santa's words from her dream. "I just realized something," she replied. "We don't need snow or a sleigh or even Santa Claus to have a perfect Christmas. We already have everything that matters right here." Her mother paused in her cooking, touched by Lisa's words. Her father lowered his newspaper, and her brothers stopped their playful bickering. In that moment, their small African home was filled with all the Christmas magic anyone could ever need. As Christmas Day drew to a close in their African village, the true meaning of the holiday settled deep in Lisa's heart, like seeds taking root in fertile soil. While her dream of Santa's visit had faded, the wisdom it left behind grew stronger with each passing moment. Lisa sat on their front porch, watching the sunset paint the sky in brilliant oranges and purples. Her brothers played nearby, their laughter carrying on the evening breeze. Inside, her parents prepared the evening meal, their quiet conversation drifting through the open windows. In this simple scene, she found all the magic she had ever sought. The Christmas she had always dreamed of, with its snow, sleigh rides, and material gifts, seemed less important now. The real enchantment lay in the warmth of her brother's smile, the comfort of her mother's embrace, and the strength of her father's gentle presence. The village around them celebrated in their own way, with drums beating in the distance and children running through the streets. There was no need for twinkling lights when they had stars scattered across the African sky. No need for decorated trees when they had the beauty of their own landscape. No need for Santa's sleigh when they had the richness of their own traditions. Lisa understood now that Christmas magic wasn't something that arrived once a year in a red-suited package. It lived in the daily acts of love and kindness that bound families and communities together. It existed in the shared meals, the stories told, the traditions passed down through generations. Her dream had taught her that while the external trappings of Christmas might change from place to place, the heart of the celebration remained the same everywhere. Whether in snow-covered towns or sun-warmed villages, Christmas was about the connections between people, the love they shared, and the joy they created together. As night fell and stars began to twinkle overhead, Lisa smiled, finally at peace with her own version of Christmas magic. It wasn't about what she saw in movies anymore, it was about what she felt in her heart, surrounded by the people she loved most in the world.